Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Um, I am, Thomas Allen, and I wanted to just make a quick video. Hopefully, it'll be quick. I just want to cover a couple of things that I noticed recently. Where to begin? Well, let's start here. I do want to address this because I don't know this. It, to say it kind of gets on my nerves would be true. Um, it's a little irritating, but at the same time, I get it. People like to impose their opinions and their viewpoints without any education or knowledge about what they are talking about, and people are notorious for doing that. Um, Case in point, what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about some of these comments on the guest starts trouble with Dr. Phil video. You absolutely can make a fool out of someone who doesn't feel like one. Many times, said fool is oblivious. Boy, this person's a winner. This person's a real winner here. Many times, said fool, like this fool here who wrote this comment, is oblivious that they're even in a position to be made one. And frankly, you're okay. It's okay. There's a typo. Doing a far better job of looking like a fool on your own. Okay. Well, I'm going to put a love on that comment because I'm not going to exchange hatred for hatred. This person, and I'm going to go on here because, um, there's so many of these things that it just, if he's such a man of his word, why doesn't he just give his word that he won't do this anymore? Well, there's a shallow-minded, stupid individual. This is Stud Lord. This is a person who calls himself Lord, and I'm the narcissist, right? This person calls himself Lord. I'm just Thomas Allen. That's all. I'm really nobody. But here we are. Let's go on here because this really just blows me away. The number of people who seem to think they're qualified to psychoanalyze me or psychoanalyze anyone. None of these people are qualified to, submit a psychoanalysis on anyone else. But here's what I'm talking about. Not at all a fan, Dr. Phil fan, but all these people chose to come on the show, and I'm sure they are compensated for it. Wrong. I was never compensated for going on the show. I didn't get paid a dime for that. But anyway, that's not what I'm wanting to share with you guys right now. He's making some great points with the mentioning of the fact that even everyone there was a Dr. Phil fan. It's true. Tolerance, new level with it all. Thank you. I'm not with him on the point until you've been there. I'm with him on the point until you've been there. You can't understand. Okay, that's not what I'm trying to get to either. Didn't see the whole show before. Break up, guys. Okay. He seemed legit. People always get riled up. The audience's opinion. No, not really. Dr. Phil, he's wrong in so many ways, but possibly right in not understanding what someone else is going through, unless you've been there too. I'm not taking his side. Oh, God forbid you take the side of a sicko, right? I'm not taking his side, but it makes me curious. Kind of one-sided of this. Kind of one side of the sword is sharper than the other. The sharper side would be yours, I'm sure. But anyways, that's not what I'm getting at either. I'm sorry for taking so long on this, but and there I am, a narcissist, not being a good narcissist. Narcissists don't apologize. Sorry about that. Um, Damn, I did it again. Gotta stop that. I'm a narcissist. I gotta kind of agree with the guy. Psychology is not the guesswork. Psychology is a lot of guesswork compared to actual neuroscience. Not that Phil would ever admit that. Um, I've touched on that point before, where Phil said that's like telling a brain surgeon that he can't help somebody unless he's had a tumor. Well, a brain surgeon is trained to take you into an operating room and take a scalpel and remove the tumor physically. You show me a psychiatrist that can take you into a room and remove a problematic behavior, and I'll show you a guy that should have Dr. Phil's television show. Because there's no psychologist or psychiatrist that can do that. It's a bad comparison, period. And anybody who jumped on board with that comparison just isn't very bright. Let's see. He got mad because the man called him out. It's what he wanted him to leave. He didn't. he don't like smart people. He's talking about Dr. Phil. So Dr. Phil's show is legit. I thought it was made up. No, it's not made up. Well, at least my episode wasn't. Yeah, someone Grace Dignity. Thank you. Appreciate that. Dr. Phil successfully argued that he is part of time nutcase flasher and part-time. So Mr. Thomas has successfully argued that he is part-time nutcase flasher and part-time victim of being nutcase. Okay, well, this person clearly isn't bright enough to look at the date on the video that he's criticizing me about. This video, Dr. Phil, the guest starts trouble. That video is 15 years old, and you'd have to be dumber than a box of rocks to think that I would have went on that show while I was still acting out on that behavior, because it's a nationwide television show. There's no way that I could go on that television show and then go back out there, engaging in exhibitionistic behavior after having been on a nationwide television show. I wouldn't last 10 minutes, but instead I've lasted 20 years. You don't stay free for 20 years after being in the system and having a record. You don't stay free for 20 years by mistake. You don't stumble up on 20 years of freedom after being in the system. And anybody that's not as dumb as a box of rocks knows that. Anyways, guy makes sense. Okay. That's why addiction counselors have been ex-addicts. Well, you know what? Let's go ahead and address that point right there, because that person makes a valid point, and I just want to. What is this stuff right here? Oh, this is the narcissists. What I'm trying to find for you guys are all the comments calling me narcissist. And I'm having a tough time finding them right now. Oh, I think she should flash the audience. I like this guy. He should feel like a fool, okay, for trying to help people. And this is Sultan of Moulton, okay, because he's so self-assured that he can't use his real name. Okay, I don't know what rocks these people crawl out from under, but Fraggle Rock Squared, what is the purpose of only showing this clip? Well, because this is the only clip that CBS put on, and I uploaded it to my channel because I'm the guy in the video, and I want it on my channel, and I don't have to explain that to anybody. That makes me a narcissist? Then okay. I guess that in some people's minds makes me a narcissist. Whatever. I thought the caption said Dr. Phil was causing trouble. No, it said I was causing trouble. Doctor full of himself. Well, pretty much. I'm actually a Thomas fan. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't really, look, I don't want, honestly, I don't want fans. I don't want any fans. I don't want to be a celebrity. I don't want to be anybody except who I am. And that's just some guy who overcame a problem with God's help. And I don't even take credit for overcoming that problem. I credit God for that because, he's the one who removed the compulsive urges. I remember the day that those compulsive urges were gone. I woke up and I knew something was different. It was just, couldn't put my finger on it right away. And then as the day wore on, I just, I realized all of a sudden, oh, that's what it is. The compulsive urges are gone. And I remember it hit me like a ton of bricks when I realized it, because, this had been a constant companion, just gnawing away at me, never letting me rest day and night. Those constant compulsive urges were always with me. And that day, when I realized they were gone, man, I tell you what, I fell down onto my knees and I cried and I thanked God. And it was an amazing thing for me when that happened. And that was 20 years ago, right around 20 years ago. Now there's a pompous ass who lost control of the situation and didn't like it. He deserves no help. Now here's another person speaking from complete ignorance, because anyone who would take the time to watch some of these other videos that I have on my channel would know that I didn't go on Dr. Phil's help to ask him to help me overcome compulsive exhibitionism. I had done that 5 years prior. Well, I say 5 years prior. 5 years prior was when I realized that the compulsive urges were gone. But I had worked for many years with real doctors. And someone else made a very good point, and that was that you can't, a psychologist, no psychologist in the world can help someone in an hour. Dr. Phil's show is what, 1 hour, right? Take out the commercials, it's about 45 minutes. There's no such thing as a psychologist or a psychiatrist who can help someone recover in 45 minutes or an hour or even 2 hours or 3 hours or 5 hours or 100 hours usually. I can tell you honestly that it took me thousands of hours before of doing stuff like this, It took me thousands of hours of participating with real doctors in real programs of recovery before I saw. Now, when that person made that comment about one addict helping another, well, I went through the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. In fact, I still have right here my big book of Alcoholics Anonymous and my 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book here. I still have these books. And I have my Bible here, which I try to stay in the Word of God, because we're told to walk in the Spirit so that we don't fulfill the lusts of the flesh. And so, how do you do that? Well, you stay in the Word of God. You pray a lot, which I do that. Anyway, the founding of Alcoholics Anonymous in 1935 emphasized many important elements of recovery, including the value of peers sharing their own stories within a community of shared experience, strength, and hope. The huge growth and popularity of Alcoholics Anonymous led to AA wards in hospitals and AA farms and retreats staffed by individuals who were AA members. AA members were among the first to staff industrial alcoholism programs, ultimately evolving into today's employee assistance programs. The 12-step program of Alcoholics Anonymous was followed by other 12-step adaptations, Alcoholics Victorious, Narcotics Anonymous, Sex Addicts Anonymous, things of that nature, all stemmed from the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, which was based on the idea that one alcoholic could understand and help another alcoholic. And so, unless you're dumber than a box of rocks, I don't have to tell you how successful the program of Alcoholics Anonymous was, and it remains still to this day. But this book, just to show you what's in this book, this is some of the work that I've done over the years, that I did over the years prior to being set free by my Heavenly Father from those compulsive urges that a lot of you seem to still think that, for some reason, and I don't know, I think a lot of people are just mean-spirited people, and they need to attack someone in order to feel good about themselves. And I think that's where a lot of that stems from, because these people don't even stop to ask. They just start, I'm a narcissist, okay? Boy, I'm a narcissist. And any argument that gets ignored, and he's been insulting my intelligence. Okay, so I don't know what that's all about. Context is the most important thing, and there's no context to this. That's true, Mr. Walnuts. The Phil isn't even a doctor. Oh, that's probably true. When narcs collide, so here's a person calling me a narcissist. Same as removing a tumor? Well, no, it's not the same as removing a tumor. You can't take a person into an operating room with a scalpel and remove a behavior. That's just stupid. I don't know why Phil even said that. He probably was so relieved that his people are so caught up in Dr. Phil worship that they never caught on to what he said there, because anybody with half a brain, even those with half a brain should know that a brain surgeon physically removes a tumor. He doesn't have to have had one to remove one. He just has to go to school and learn how to do it without killing this poor guy with the scalpel, right? Psychology, a psychologist or a psychiatrist can't cure anybody. All they can do is guide you along the way to help you to participate in your own recovery, because when it comes down to it, nobody did the work in all these books that I had to do. All that work that I had to do, I had to do. And I did work with a lot of very good psychologists and very good psychiatrists who helped me and guided me along that way, down that path of recovery. They were, without them, Could I have done it myself without the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, Sex Addicts Anonymous, without other people helping me along the way, being kind, loving, understanding, forgiving? Could I have overcome that problem? I don't know, probably not. I would have to say I probably could not have overcome that problem. But for all of you for those of you who think that I'm a narcissist, I don't think narcissists look in the mirror, hate themselves so much that they would maybe put a gash trying to, because someone told me if you cut the vein long ways, they can't stitch it up. And so I figured, okay, sounds good to me. And so that's what I did. And I don't think narcissists typically look in the mirror and hate themselves so much because they can't control their own behavior. They can't live up to their own set of moral standards. And they hate themselves so much that they want to take themselves out of the planet, out of the world. I don't think narcissists, well, here, let's look up what narcissist means. What is this fool trying to prove? Okay, well, this fool was trying to prove that, I just noticed that. Narcissism, thy name is thou. Okay, let's love that. And let's love this person calling me a fool, this Mr. Peanut Butter, because he's so emotionally stable that he goes by Peanut Butter. Okay, so these are the people I have attacking me. Peanut Butter, Arthur Unknown, again, someone who, and you know, it's always, usually it's the same thing with these mean-spirited, evil, disgusting, vile, repugnant people. They know that they are slime balls, and so they don't even use their real names. It's amazing to me that they all want to attack you under cover of unknownness, anonymity, right? They don't have the guts to come out and this person, Elizabeth Ryan, Dr. Phil him, Dr. Phil. I will love that comment as well, because I will not exchange evil for evil. Our Messiah told us to exchange evil for good. A classic example of narcissism. Now, here's a psychiatrist right here. Now, I'm going to tell you, what is more narcissistic? Me wanting to go on this Dr. Phil show after Dr. Phil's producers told me that he admired, my desire to come forward and share my story of recovery with people who may be suffering from the same thing and may be helped and encouraged to continue down that road of that path of recovery and not give up. That's all I wanted to do. And so if that makes me, if that's a classic example of narcissism, I just don't know what to say. I think it's more narcissistic to come on here and psychoanalyze somebody without a single day of training. This person is not a qualified psychiatrist. I guarantee you this person is not a qualified psychiatrist, not a qualified psychologist, and yet this person feels comfortable to get on here and psychoanalyze me, okay? I think you have to be a narcissist to, I find it interesting that you still feel the need. Okay, see right there, this is this is a very hateful person. I feel it interesting that you still feel the need to monitor and comment on the YouTube clip in which you appeared 15 years ago. Does this reflect a trait of a narcissist who's baseless? I think it's more narcissistic that you feel a need because, actually, I'm the one in the video. So I think it's quite natural that I might want to follow anyone who, because I'm not here for these morons, okay? I'm here for people who have contacted me asking me about the program of recovery and how I was able to recover from this condition and go on to live a useful and productive life. Is it these morons who, look, what's more narcissistic? To psychoanalyze someone who is 62 years old based on a 2-minute clip of their life, a 62-year life. This person has psychoanalyzed me based on a 2-minute clip. Who's the narcissist? Look, I think, isn't it more reasonable that I would want to check in on the website to see if anyone's trying to contact me that I might be able to help? Or for this person here, and I'll call this a person, though I think there are other more fitting labels I could put on this person. Who's the narcissist? this person asked the question. I find it interesting that you still feel the need. I find it interesting that you feel the need to come back to this video and reply to me and psychoanalyze me. This person's dumber than a box of rocks. Let's take a look here. Okay, what is narcissism? Okay, first of all, I don't think narcissists do this to themselves. I don't think a narcissist has ever looked in the mirror and said, pal, you're the problem. You are the problem. And you need to do whatever you need to do to change. I don't think narcissists do that. What narcissists do is they seek out people who are easy prey under a hidden fake name, and they attack them. This is what narcissists do. Narcissists psychoanalyze people without any training in psychology, any training in psychiatry, and they attempt to psychoanalyze somebody. What is narcissism? Okay, psychoanalysis. Well, okay, narcissism is a psychoanalysis. So anyone who gets on here and calls me a narcissist is doing a psychoanalysis with no training whatsoever. And I think that is more narcissistic than anything I've done. Self-centeredness arising from failure to distinguish the self from external objects, either in very young babies or as a feature of mental disorder. Now, I think that the person I just pointed out here has a mental disorder. This GT person. This is a person who won't even identify himself using his real name. And I've shown you several examples of people like that who are so insecure in what they're doing in their attack that they can't even do it using their real name. Psychology, selfishness involving a sense of entitlement, a lack of empathy. Well, let's talk about that. Because around here where I live, when people, not everybody in this neighborhood, but there are a lot of people in this neighborhood, when they need help doing something, they call me because my phone number is right on the side of my truck, my cargo trailer, my business phone number. And so my phone number is right there. Anyone can call me, and they ask for help. Now, my neighbor, they just moved out a while back, maybe 6 months or so ago. I have a new neighbor now, but Daniel and Tiffany, who lived next door to me for about 3-4 years. Daniel had a heart attack at one point and he couldn't work. And he was missing work. They weren't able to pay their rent and they fell behind. So the narcissist that I am, I went ahead and paid their rent for them. Because obviously I was court ordered to do so. No, I wasn't court ordered to do so. I didn't have to do that. I did that just because I am a narcissist, and that's what narcissists do, is they help other people, right? Oh, oops, I'm sorry. No, narcissists have a lack of empathy. So they wouldn't pay somebody's rent just because they had a heart attack. Not if they're a real narcissist. I guess I'm not much of a narcissist. I'm not a good narcissist. And a need for admiration as characterizing a personality type. Well, I don't desire anybody's admiration, okay? In fact, I'm not deserving of anybody's admiration. I'm just, I'm not that great of a person. The greatest thing about me is that I'm covered in the blood of the Messiah. I have accepted him as my Savior, and he's the greatest thing about me. So I'm not one worthy of admiration or any of that. So to call me a narcissist, you got to be dumber than a box of rocks. You don't know me at all. Personality qualities include thinking very highly of oneself, needing admiration, believing others are inferior, and lacking empathy for others. Okay, again, anyone who knows me knows that, again, I don't think very highly of myself. At one point, I hated myself. And I tried to get off the planet because I hated myself so much. And as far as lacking empathy, well, there's a lady up here who's disabled, has a travel trailer that she lives in, and it was just filthy dirty. I have a pressure washing business, so I asked her if she wanted it clean. She said she didn't have any money, and I told her, don't worry about that. Do you want it clean? Because it had all the green pollen, and it was just covered with dirt. It was really filthy, and I just felt like, let me do something good for someone, because that's what our Heavenly Father would want. That's what he wants us to do, is help one another. And I met a lot of really, really good people who have helped me along, down the path of my recovery. Very, very good people. They weren't like these vultures who just I don't know. These are like the people that go to see the Dr. Phil show. They're like Jerry Springer. They're glorified Jerry Springer audiences, man. They just have a little more money. Narcissistic personality disorder, a disorder in which a person has an inflated sense of self-importance. Well, that's not me, folks, because there ain't nothing important about me. Let's go back here for a minute. I just want to show you something. And I want to share this with you folks. And then you judge for yourself. I mean, judge for yourself, whether or not I'm a narcissist and whether I'm all the things that it said, self-centered, only think of myself, lacking empathy for other people. Let's take a look. Let's start here. This is just some martial arts films that I made, martial arts videos that I made with my son before he passed away. Introduction to Recovery. This is a video that I made about trying to help others to overcome their problems. I don't think narcissists really do that. And I don't understand why, until like a month or so ago, the last time I checked, this video, Dr. Phil guest starts trouble during commercial break. I don't know what happened here. But until like a month or two ago, this video had like, 800 views. Now all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's 104,000 views on this video, and I don't know why that is. This video was on the CBS YouTube channel, and I downloaded it, re-uploaded it to my channel, just because, I wanted to see, for myself without having to go to CBS, because I do read the comments. I mean, and unlike a narcissist, it does matter what people think about me because I'm human, and sometimes some of these comments, they do hurt my feelings because I have feelings. I don't go around hurting people's feelings, man, for nothing. I don't go around hurting people's feelings just because, without knowing anything about them. And I certainly don't try to psychoanalyze people based on a 2-minute clip of what might be a 30-year-old life or a 40-year-old life, or in my case, a 62-year-old life. I would never look at a 62-year-old person, a 2-minute clip of a 62-year-old person's life, and think that I can psychoanalyze that person. I think that is the mark of a narcissist, because you have to have a pretty inflated ego to think that you can take 2 minutes out of a 60-year life, 62 years in my case, and know anything at all about that person. I mean, that's just box of rocks stupid to me. Anyways, I started wanting to do more to help other people, so I started making videos about how to participate in your own recovery.
Good afternoon, folks, and welcome. I'm Thomas Allen, and I am calling this video Fix Yourself. A lot of you folks may recognize me from...
Let's go back, because this one here, where are we at here? Sorry about that. This is the one that I really wanted to hear.
Events, being very overtired, work stress, family friction.
Okay, I was trying to go over some of the things in my workbook that helped me to recover with some people who may be wanting to. And here's what's really sad. 100,000 views on that Dr. Phil video clip, that little 2-minute clip. 100,000 views on that video clip of people, a lot of whom seek only to attack and demean and tear down another human being. This is the only way they delight in inflicting emotional pain and suffering on other people. Now, I'm not that guy, but so many of the people who come to that video, 100,000 people go to that video. But this video, Wellness and Recovery Action Plan, where it talks about, on this page, write down the things that might cause an increase in your symptoms. They might have triggered or increased symptoms in the past. Some of those things: anniversary or losses or trauma, anniversary of losses or trauma. Like my son committed suicide 3.5 years ago. And sometimes there are things that, trigger me about that. And I have a tough time with the anniversary of his suicide. I have a tough time with that around July 8th. I struggle. Traumatic news events, being very tired, work stress, which I am very tired right now, family friction, relationship ending, spending too much time alone, being judged or criticized, which, yeah. I'm judged and criticized a lot by people who think that they know something about my 62-year-old life based on a 2-minute clip. I mean, to me, nothing tops that for narcissism. Nothing tops that. You got to really think highly of yourself to think that you can psychoanalyze somebody based on a 2-minute clip of the 60-year-old life. Nothing tops narcissism like that. And then they judge you and criticize you. To add insult to injury, being teased or put down, bam, I get that. Financial problems, not so much, because God is good and He takes care of me. He's given me a business, and it's a pretty successful business. I'm able to help other people, and that to me is the mark of a successful business, is that I not only am able to take care of my bills, pay all my bills, but I'm also able to, help other people, financially, help other people with food, with, rent. Like when my neighbor had a heart attack, I was able to pay his rent for him, because God's been so good to me. And when God's that good to you, man, you got to be pretty low to not want to, pass that along to other people and share with them that it's not you who's helping them, but it's Him, And I think that you have to be, you'd have to be pretty low not to want to share what He has been so generous in giving you. And so that's what I try to do. I guess I'm just not a very good narcissist. I'm not going to say I'm not a narcissist. I'm not going to sit here and contradict all these people must be right? How can that many people be wrong, right? So I won't say that I'm not a narcissist. I will just say I don't think I'm a very good one, because I don't follow all the narcissist rules. I don't follow the rules of narcissism, I guess, very well. So I guess I'm kind of rebellious against the rules of narcissism, which probably makes me just a bad narcissist. Physical illness, sexual harassment, hearing aggressive sounding noises, feeling left out, things that remind you of abandonment. So anyway, this is the video that I made, one of the videos that I've made, and I would like to make others, but here's what's discouraging, is that 100,000 videos of people who, a lot of them, want nothing but to come in and attack me, right? How many videos on this video, how many views on this video where I'm trying to share hope of recovery? How many views? 89, and this video's been up for 3 years. And it's just sad, man. But you look at that, and then you look at the comments that some of these evil, disgusting, vile people leave. Not Dr. Ville, would the behavior displayed by this guest be described as narcissistic? Again, you have to be box of rocks stupid to think that you can label someone or psychoanalyze someone and what is it when they give you a diagnose? Because these people are making diagnoses. These people are diagnosing another person. When they put the label narcissistic on you, they've just diagnosed you. They've made a psychological evaluation and diagnosis, which none of them are qualified to do. And that, to me, is the mark of narcissism. You're doing something you're totally not qualified to do. So obviously you think way more highly of yourself than I do of mine, because I'm not psychoanalyzing you. You're psychoanalyzing me without any qualifications to do so. So say whatever you want. Call me a narcissist if you want. At this point, without any education, formal education in making that determination, you're just name calling. You're just name calling. You're just engaging in mean-spirited name calling is all that is, because you're not qualified to say who's a narcissist or who's not, especially based on 2 minutes of time. Look, and another person made a very good point in the comments. I'm going to go back here to this page. But again, and this is the video that I made for my son when he passed away, when he committed suicide. I made 2 videos. This one after the wellness video, just kind of talking about why I hadn't made a video in a while. This one is a tribute I made to my son. And you're welcome to go to my channel and look at these videos. Please, whatever you do, don't make any disrespectful comments about my son. He's dead, okay? He's dead. Leave him alone, okay? He didn't do anything to anybody. Never had a criminal record. He was a good kid. So please leave him out of this, Okay? I say that as a narcissist who only cares about myself. Dr. Phil Guest didn't start trouble. Dr. Phil did. But, you know, my view on overcoming compulsive obsession, and again, you know, I'm trying to stay focused on the solutions to problems, not just attacking people. I don't want to attack anybody. I don't have anybody to attack. I don't want to attack anybody. Solution to masturbation and sexual addiction. These are the videos that I've tried to make, but none of these videos, and then do not be deceived, okay? This is more scriptural, biblical, focused on, you know, the Word of God, and does sin condemn us to the lake of fire? And so I made also a video about that. And it's not the sin that condemns us to the lake of fire. It is unbelief in the only begotten Son of our Heavenly Father. The unbelief in Him is the only reason why we are judged for sin, because He paid the price for those who believe in Him. That's the end of the law. It says so in the Bible. And I'm not going to go into Bible study right now. Real name of the Messiah, and is one God, three persons. So I also wanted to, 23 views, 16 views on this one, 86 views on that one. Okay, this one, the only reason this one got 257 views is because a lot of people clicked on it because of the sexual connotation. But, you know, I will say I am grateful for the, you know, people who actually watched the video that I made for my son and left compassionate, kind comments. I do appreciate that, and I thank everybody who weighed in with condolences on that video. But this is what it is, folks. You know, for those of you calling me a narcissist, you might want to, because, let's see, again, this video is 2 minutes and 46 seconds. I'm a 62-year-old man. What you have watched is a 2-minute clip, 2 minutes and 46 second clip of a man who's 62 years old. You discount all of the work that I've done here to overcome this problem. The very first thing I say in this video is to Phil, and did upset me. I'm not gonna lie, it upset me because he lied to me to get me on to come on the show. He said that he thought it was through his producers. He didn't even talk to me. He told his producers to tell me, "Oh, Dr. Phil thinks it's admirable that you are going to come on the show and share your experience in recovery and, you know, hope for other people," and blah, blah. So that's what I thought I was going into. But then as soon as I got on the show and the camera started rolling, this guy starts attacking me. And so the first thing I say in this video is, you know, you haven't asked me one time how I overcame the problem. But even though I state that at the outset of this video, the very first thing I say, some people are still box of rock stupid, man. They, you know, to even hear that statement. Because if you heard that statement and you're not box of rock stupid, then you would know that I overcame the problem already, because I said you haven't asked me how I overcame the problem, which means if you have any brain, half a brain even, then you know that I had already overcome the problem. And I was a little upset that he was focusing on the behavior as if trying to lead people to think that I was still engaged in that behavior rather than focusing on the solutions. Because once again, all I wanted to say was to people who are still suffering or maybe suffering from similar behaviors, compulsive urges that you can't seem to control, you can't seem to overcome these urges. I know what you feel like. You feel like it's hopeless. You feel like you're a piece of crap. You feel like the world would be better off without you. You look in the mirror and you can't stand what you see. And you would do anything to be rid of these compulsive urges. And you think that it's hopeless. You have no hope. And I'm just here to tell you that that's not true. Never give up trying to overcome this problem, because it's not true that you're, look, sometimes, a lot of times, good people do bad things. And some of these people call me a narcissist. They may be good people, but what they're doing to me that's not something good people do. It's not a good thing because, first of all, it's a lie. It's a flat out lie. And we are not supposed to bear false witness against our neighbor. Now, I know I don't live next door to you, but when the Messiah said, with that commandment not to bear false witness against your neighbor, that means don't bear false witness against anyone else. Don't lie on people. Don't lie on people. And even if you're mistaken, you're still bearing false witness against me, because I've done nothing to you personally. And for you to attack me like a vulture, like a buzzard eating dead meat, I mean, for you to attack me like that, based on a 46-second clip of a 62-year-old life? Come on, man. Come on, are you serious? And a lot of people say, yeah, I'm serious, they'll come on, and they will still double and triple down on their vile, despicable, repugnant, under the cover of false names. They don't even give their real names. So these are the people that I'm discussing in this video, because, you know, these are cowards. These are despicable, vile, repugnant, cowardly scum. Because good people wouldn't do something like that. And intelligent people certainly would never do something like that, because intelligent people have sense enough to know that, well, this is a 2-minute clip and it's 15 years old. So if this person is not locked up, he probably has changed, because a compulsive behavior is something that you can't help engaging in over and over and over and over every day. So if this person has gone, 15 years, and then he said 5 years before that is when he was rid of the urge, that's 20 years that he's been without these urges, 20 years that he has remained free in society. And once you're in the system, I'll go back to this again, because once you get into the system, the justice system, the lack of justice system, it's very hard to get out. It's a revolving door. And that's why the recidivism rate for convicts is so very, very, very high. Because when you're on parole, you're on probation or parole, you don't get to go to a hearing before they lock you back up. They just, if you've done anything, if you're suspected of doing anything, they lock you back up until you completely get off of parole and probation. And even then, they watch you more closely than they would watch me more close. Not anymore, because after 20 years and all of the people who know me in the community and how helpful I've been to people in my community, I'm not watched like that anymore, but I've earned that over 20 years. And for the moronic imbeciles that come on here thinking they know me after a 2-minute clip from 15 years ago, I just say to you, I'm going to pray for you, because that stems from a black, hardened heart and a mean-spirited disposition that will never enter into the kingdom of heaven. And I will pray for you that you can overcome your problem, because you're not going to enter into the kingdom of heaven. See, I'm there. I will enter into the kingdom of heaven. There's no doubt in my mind about that. No doubt in my mind. He's been too good to me, and he takes too good care of me. And I stay in constant contact with him, because I pray without ceasing constantly. First thing I do in the morning when I get up, before I even get out of bed, is I get on my knees and I pray and I thank him. And I thank him for all the wonderful things that he's done for me. And sometimes I just stay there for, like, I've been known to stay on my knees praying for a couple of hours, because I'm just so grateful, and I have to get the tissue, and I have to get I'm pouring my heart out, and I'm just based on gratitude. They're tears of joy and tears of gratitude, not, there was a tough time 3.5 years ago when my son passed away, but that's a whole nother thing right there. Anyway, that's really all I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope that this clears up the whole issue of whether or not I'm a narcissist, because no intelligent person would ever. That's never been my diagnosis. I've been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which sexual acting out is a symptom of bipolar disorder. I have a diagnosis that came from real doctors. So all you, backseat driver, armchair quarterback psychologists diagnosing me as a narcissist, that was never a diagnosis for me. That was never a diagnosis for me. In fact, never mind. I'm not even gonna say it. It's not worth saying, because people who suffer from hateful hearts and mean-spirited dispositions would never, ever, they're the narcissists, because no matter what you tell them, just like I showed you with this one guy in the comment section, they'll come back and say, oh, well, that's narcissistic behavior. And I just look at these people and I just wonder how low their forehead is in person if you see them, you know. I don't know. Anyway, that's it for this video. I do want to express gratitude to people who have been kind. There have been a lot of very kind people, a lot of very supportive people, and there have been a lot of very intelligent people as well. But they're not the ones calling me narcissist because they probably understand that you don't do all this work right here if you're a narcissist. You don't. First of all, you don't look in the mirror and say, "Hey, Alan, Thomas, you're the problem." Narcissists don't admit that they're the problem. Narcissists don't keep 12 steps and 12 traditions, and narcissists don't, refer to their 12-step books and their big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Narcissists have no use for the Bible with, I've got tons of notes and stuff that I've made and this Bible's just marked with highlights everywhere because I actually read it. That's why there's so many highlights and notes and stuff in there, because I actually read this Word of God. And the work that I put into becoming and all these are certificates of completion for programs of recovery and groups and sessions that I've been through with real therapists, with real doctors, not doctors because Guy made a good point. You can't help anybody in an hour. Dr. Phil doesn't help anyone because it is impossible to help someone in an hour. Do you know how many hours of recovery went into me receiving all of the certificates and all of the, you go ahead and watch this video right here and you'll see that
Evidence, being very overtired, work stress, something else. And I said, well, you've done things with
you'll see
people in Alcoholics Anonymous.
For the rap. You'll see that.
So I will just share
Center,
a couple of things with you guys.
So
drugs are just as extensive.
Narcissists don't engage in programs of recovery willingly, voluntarily. I've never been court ordered to participate in a damn thing. Okay, all of this was willingly, voluntarily, because I wanted to recover. I didn't like who I was, and I guess that's again me being a bad narcissist because I didn't like who I was. Even to this day, I don't think I'm anything special, but I'm doing the best I can, trying to be helpful and trying to. I'm not even trying to make amends for the mistakes I made in the past anymore, because I think I pretty well have done that. I never physically harmed anybody or anything like that, so I don't know. But point I was making, I digressed there. Point I was making is that Dr. Phil, you can't help anybody in an hour, and anybody who thinks that Dr. Phil is helping people in an hour is just very, very misguided about recovery. It takes years and years of constant work on yourself to be successful in recovery and overcome compulsive behavior, or to overcome alcoholism, or overcome gambling or drinking. Or I also quit smoking cigarettes after 45 years, and that was about 10 years ago now. So I do know how to give up behaviors, and I do know how to overcome behaviors with his help. I don't take credit for it. I give all the glory to that. All the glory for my success in recovery goes to God. And I stand by that. Even if you don't believe in him, that's okay. I believe in him, and I know that he has helped me. I don't just believe in him. I know he's there, and I know he loves me, and I know he's helping me still to this day. But Dr. Phil isn't helping anyone, because it's impossible to help someone with a psychiatric or psychological problematic behavior in an hour. You just can't do it. Now, that neurosurgeon removing that tumor, he could maybe do that in an hour, although I think he'd probably take a little longer than an hour to get that tumor out, physically removed with the scalpel and that. But a psychologist can't do that in an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours or 100 hours. maybe 100 hours. I don't know. I don't think you can overcome a problem in 100 hours of therapy. I've had thousands of hours of therapy that I chose to engage in. I chose to participate in my own recovery. And it paid off because now, 20 years after the fact, I'm a pretty happy person. I have good friends around me. I have people who know me, and I dare say people who love me, around me. So think what you want. Call me a narcissist if it makes you feel good about yourself, but you can't help someone in an hour, and that's just a fact. It takes a lot of hours of hard work, and the psychologist, you don't give him the credit because all he can do is guide you down the path of recovery, but it's up to you to do the work. You have to fix yourself, and with his help, because I don't even think you can do it without God. That's my opinion. I don't think it's possible to overcome something like that without God's help. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it right there, and I want to thank all of you who are supportive and who are kind and loving. And until the next time, take care of yourselves, and if you can, help somebody else along the way.